When it comes to the convention on COVID and the COVID-19 response, Democrats are living in reality as the Republicans and Trump fantasize about their own, what they call fantasy world. The one immutable law of politics is that ultimately it is always about addition, not subtraction. In 2016, Donald Trump had won with the 46.1%, and Mitt Romney lost with a 47.2% in 2012. But technically, Trump didn't win anyway. But yeah, a functional, sane president would have focused immediately on expanding that number to what will be almost surely be needed to win for 2020. Um, but of course, Trump set about doing the exact opposite, attacking those who didn't support him. The result is predictable. The percentage of people identifying themselves as Republicans have shrunk, while those considering themselves Democrats have grown. Watching the first night, Watching the first night of the Democratic convention, it's refreshing to see a political party focused on addition. In 2016, a non-white turnout declined for the first time in 20 years. The single most pressing need of the Democratic Party is to motivate the more of the non-white voters. The night was balanced between a direct appeal to those voters and a mix of Republicans. In theory, that this was a difficult dive from a high platform, but the Democrats pulled it off. While Republicans were in denial about the impact of the COVID-19 on a huge political gathering, Democrats quickly embraced reality and set about planning a virtual convention under the direction of Stephanie Cutter. They studied the virtual NFL draft and focused on putting together a convention unlike any other. Meanwhile, Republicans found themselves in the very odd position of unable to find a city that considered the millions of dollars in revenue worth the chaos and health risk. In this political tall tale lies the story of how America ended up with the worst COVID-19 response in the Western world. The Democrats were realistic, but the Trump Republicans lived in the fantasy world with no one able to tell Trump the obvious truth. This person worked on three Republican conventions, 2000, 2004, and 2012, and planning begins a year out. When there is no incumbent president, that means the eventual winning nominee steps into a conventional process and well underway without his or her guidance. It's much easier as an incumbent when the entire convention mechanism is under your control. In this strangest of political years, all the pre-nominee planning for the Democratic convention was thrown out the window, and a new model was erected from scratch. It has long been acknowledged that a national convention is simply a television production with little or no deliberate purpose. So perhaps this evolution of the convention into nothing but a television production was inevitable. As with a lot of changes in our society, COVID-19 accelerated the trends already in motion. We found out that the first night of the Democratic convention, it was more engaging and compelling than a traditional convention, which for all of the videos shown between speakers was still bound by the same repetitive structure, one speaker after another at a podium. Past conventions inevitably were impersonal and almost always mixed with a heavy dose of predictable boredom. By designing and executing a pre-scripted and pre-shot television show, the Democratic planners were able to limit the speakers to the times that they desired. And it's always a problem when a politician is on stage and reluctant to leave, while avoiding any of the unexpected twist of a live television, like, well, Clint Eastwood, yes, I was involved in that, and no, it didn't go as planned. This was a night of emotion, not policy, and that was smart. People ultimately care about people a lot more than policies, and by giving human dimensions to racial injustice in the COVID-19 pandemic, viewers were able to empathize with a lot of the non-politicians telling their stories. One thing is for certain: the Democratic convention will look a lot more like an American one than the Republican one will. If there was a single theme to the night, it was unity, unity over party, unity of country. We used to call this coalition building, and believe it or not, Republicans once understood its critical importance in winning elections. When you get Bernie Sanders and John Kasich supporting the same candidate, don't let anyone tell you that that's anything but an electoral whim. Yes, Kasich might turn off some in the party, but the Biden campaign is betting that on election night, the need to have given moderate suburban voters permission to feel comfortable with the Joe Biden Kamala Harris ticket, it will be a lot more valuable than any disaffected Democrats they might have left on the table. But more Americans are dying from the COVID-19 than anywhere else in the world, and more Americans are out of work in August of 2020 than any August in American history. This is the country in shock and grieving by a strange twist of political fate. Joe Biden might be the only fit that's perfect for this moment. He builds his strength on decency and normalcy, and that's what this country is looking for, both. It was not a night of anger, and I'm betting that anger will be the key to which the Republican convention will be played. One thing is for certain. One thing is for certain. The Democrats will have better music. Working on Republican conventions, we've long envied the Democrats' ability to draw top talent, and having Bruce Springsteen's Rising as a theme mixed with tremendous young talent like Leon Bridges and Maggie Rogers would have been a dream. I don't know who any of those two fucking people are. All in all, I'd call opening night a big success under the most trying conditions. If the Democrats continue running a campaign like this, and evidence suggests they will, Joe Biden will be the next president. So if you liked the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, Rambin Wake. And also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out, and thanks for listening.